Stacy wasn't sure, and she never bothered to pay attention to details like that, and was always regretting it, the half-knowing which felt worse than not knowing at all, the constant sense that she had things partly right, but not right enough to make a difference. Maybe there isn't a way, he said. Maybe all we can do is wait and hope and endure for as long as we're able. The food will run out, our bodies will fail, and the mind will do whatever it's going to do, trying to remember things. It is what people did. Amy had decided as they waited for death. They lay there struggling to remember the details of her life. Never such spit and infinite rhymes, and the infinite echoing rhymes. Sometimes human places create inhuman monsters. Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm just gonna bash your fucking brains in. Monsters are real, ghosts are too. They live inside of us, and sometimes they win. This inhuman place makes human monsters. The world's a hard place, Danny, it don't care if it don't hate you and me, but it don't love us either. Terrible things happen in the world, and there are things no one can explain. Your smile is so kind. The biggest monster that you hide in plain sight. You're wolf in sheepskin. Wolf in sheepskin. The tears that heal are also the tears that scold and scourge. But see that you get on, that's your job, and this world is hard world to keep your love alive, and see that you get on no matter what, pull your act together and just go on. You never dreamed there could be so much pain in a life when there was nothing physically wrong. She hurt all the time. Tough old world, baby, if you're not bolted together tightly, you're gonna shake, rattle, and roll before you turn 30. Small children are great acceptors. They don't understand shame or the need to hide things. He would write it for a reason. He felt that all great literature, fiction and non-fiction, was written. Truth comes out in the end. It always comes out. He would write it because he felt he had to. Are you sure self-pity is a luxury you can afford, Jack Rapp? The biggest monster that you hide in plain sight. You're wolf in sheepskin. Wolf in sheepskin. No live organism can continue to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. No live organism can continue to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids are supposed by some to dream. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within. It had stood there so for 80 years, and might stand for 80 more within walls continued. Upright bricks met neatly, floors were firm, and doors were sensibly shut, silently, steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. No live organism continued for so long to exist sanely underneath the conditions of absolute reality. Your smile is so kind. The biggest monster that you hide in plain sight. You're wolf in sheepskin. We learn from failure, not from success. I am wanting to be with you and by the way, by the sea, where we can walk, talk together freely, and build our castles in the air. Once again, welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely, leave something of the happiness you bring. I am all in a seat of wonders I doubt, I fear. I think strange things which I dare not confess to my own soul. There is a reason why all things are as they are. Remember, my friend, but knowledge is stronger than memory, and we should not trust the weaker. I want you to believe in the things that you cannot. Despair has its own calms. Our loneliness will sit over our roofs with brooding wings. Oh, the terrible struggle that I have had against sleep so often of late. The pain of sleeplessness, or the pain of the fear of sleep, and with such unknown horror as it has for me. How blessed are some people whose lives have no fears, no dreads, to whom sleep is a blessing that comes nightly and brings nothing but sweet dreams. How blessed are some people whose lives have no fears, no dreads, to whom sleep is a blessing but comes nightly and brings nothing but sweet dreams. No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. She had opened the door, and now she was walking with demons. And at the end of the travels, she would have her revenge. Pain had made a sadist of her. Pain had made a sadist of her. Pain had made a sadist of her. She opened the door. She wanted nothing that he could offer her except perhaps his absence. Well, here he was. They could have saved each other the way the poets promised lovers should. He was mystery. He was darkness. He was all she had dreamed of, and if she would only free him, he would service her. Oh yes, until her pleasure reached that threshold that, like all thresholds, was a place where the strong grew stronger and the weak grew weaker and the weak perished. Pleasure was pain, never stopped remains. Pleasure was pain there, and vice versa, and he knew it well enough to call it home. Spring, if it lingers more than a week beyond its span, starts to hunger for summer to end. The days of perpetual promise wrap up a miracle spiritual, undoubtable miracle spiritual, forever and no. Creeps on of the flame that will presently melt it away. Everything tries of time and starts to seek some opposition to save it from itself. Seasons long for each other, like men and women, in order that they may be cured of their excesses. Spring, if it lingers more than a week beyond its span, starts to hunger for summer to end. The days of perpetual promise, summer in its turn soon begins to sweat for something to quench its heat, and the mellowest of autumns will tire of gentility at last, and ache for a quick, sharp frost to kill its fruitfulness. Even winter, the hardest season of most implacable dreams, as February creeps on, of the flame that will presently melt it away. Everything tires with time and starts to seek some opposition to save it from itself. Pleasure was pain there, and vice versa, and he knew it well enough to call it home. The flawlessly beautiful were flawlessly happy, weren't they, to Christie? This had always seemed self-evident. Tonight, however, alcohol made her wonder if envy had it blinded her, perhaps. To be flawless was another kind of sadness. Raps relentless, my raps I am obsessed with, where it goes inside of my head, the echoing infinite, rapping again. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligence greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own, that as being abused, busied themselves their various concerns. They were scrutinized and studied perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Be a man, what good is a religion if it collapses under calamity? Think of what earthquakes and floods, wars and volcanoes have done before to men. Did you think that God had exempted us? He is not an insurance agent. This isn't war, said the artilleryman. It never was a war, any more than a war between man and ants. Perhaps I am a man of exceptional moods. I do not know how far my experience is common. At times I suffer from the strangest sense of detachment from myself and the world about me. I seem to watch it all from the outside, somewhere inconceivably remote, out of time, out of space, out of distress and tragedy of it all. This feeling was very strong upon me that night. Here was another side to my dream, it seems. Full circle, a new terror born in death, a new superstition entering the unassailable fortress of forever. I am legend in a world of monstrous, a monotonous where there could be no salvation in wild dreaming. How quickly one accepts the incredible if only one sees it enough. How long did it take for a past to die? He stood there for a moment looking around the silent room, shaking his head slowly. All these books he saw, the residue of the planet's intellect, scraping up futile minds, the leftovers, the potpourri of artifacts that had no power to save men from perishing. No power to save men from perishing. Remember, and then again I said, Sometimes dead is better, and the most terrifying question of all may be just how much horror of a human mind can stand and still maintain a wakeful, staring, unrelenting sanity. The soil of a man's heart is stonier. A man grows what he can and tends it. Cats were the gangsters of the animal world, living outside the law and often dying there. Rappers despair, there it goes in the air. The soul of a man's heart is stonier, Lewis. A man grows what he can and he tends it, because what you buy is what you own, and what you own always comes home to you. Yes, indeed. Never gonna stop spitting into you. You learn to accept, and you're probably end up in a small room writing letters home with the Crayolas. Ramen Toyota. Well, there it goes inside of my head. The echoing infinite rapping again. Some birds are not meant to be caged. That's all. Their feathers are too bright. Their songs too sweet and wild. So you let them go. And when you open the cage to feed them, they somehow fly out past you. And a part of you knows the way to prison them in the first place rejoices, but still the place where you live is that much more drab and empty for their departure. It always comes down to just two choices: get busy living or get busy dying. Remember hope. Remember hope is a good thing. Rapping away goes today. Away goes today. Rapping all night and all day inside of my head. I don't have to listen to rumors about a man when I can judge him for it myself. They say the specific has no memory that there's. I want to live the rest of my life a warm place with no memory. I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Annie was the part of me they could never lock up, the part of me that will rejoice when the gates finally open for me and I walk out in my cheap suit with my $20 of mad money in my pocket. The part of me will rejoice no matter how old and broken I and scared. The rest of me is, I guess it's just that Andy had more of that part than me and used it better. Rapper for Ether and Ether and Ether just keeps getting better. Rapper for Ether and Ether just keeps getting better. The Greek pissed and pissed and pissed. No, I don't want to go, but she knew she couldn't say this. She complained too much. Bump, 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 the dump, bump, 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 dump, bump, blah, blah. Na 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 da da na 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 la la da 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 na na na. No tears, please. Wasted good suffering. He spoke of both dancing and death with equal nonchalance, as though one carried as little significance as the other. It calmed her, hearing him talk that way. The bare bulb in the middle of the room dimmed and brightened and dimmed again. Had taken on the rhythm of the bell, burning its hottest on each chime. In the trows between the chimes, the darkness in the room became utter. It was as if the world he had occupied for 29 years had ceased to exist, and the bell would sound again, and the bulb burn so strongly it might never have faltered. And for a few precious seconds he was standing in a familiar place with a door that led out and down and into the street, and a window through which had he built the will or straight tear of the blinds back he might glimpse a rumor of morning, but Holton, rhyming never ending, forever and ever. Just keeps getting better. It is our choices, Harry, that show us what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Oh well, I'd just been thinking if you had died, you'd have been welcome to share my toilet. Of all the trees we could have hit, we had to get one that hits us back. Honestly, if you were any slower, you'd be going backward. A jitney, said Mr. Weasley, flabbergasted. Haven't I taught you something? What have I always told you? Never trust anything that you can for itself if you can't see where it keeps the brain. Well, you're expelled, aren't you, said Ron. Not today, Mr. Weasley. Snape looked as though Christmas had been canceled. I'll be in my bedroom making no noise and pretending I'm not here. Harry, I think I've just misunderstood something. I've got to go to the library and she sprinted away up the stairs. What does she understand? Said Harry distractedly, still looking around, trying to tell where the voice had come from. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Take it back. What's done is done.
Yet, so vain is man, and so blinded by his vanity, we should remember how repulsive our carnivorous habits would seem to an intelligent rabbit. Suddenly, like a thing fallen upon me from about came fear. Surely, if we have learned nothing else, this war has taught us pity for those witless souls that suffer our dominion. And before we judge of them too harshly, we must remember that ruthless and utter destruction of our own species has wrought not only upon animals such as the vanished bison and the dodo, but upon its inferior races, the Tasmanians. In spite of their human likeness, were entirely swept out of existence in a war of extermination waged by European immigrants in the space of 50 years. Drink in 50 beers all of these years. Look inside of me. There's the Brian Monopoly. Maybe there is a beast. Maybe it's only us. Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true. A wise friend called Piggy. The thing is, fear can't hurt you any more than a dream. We did everything adults would do. What went wrong? About that, the greatest ideas are the simplest. Fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. You knew, didn't you? I'm part of you, close. I'm the reason why it no go. My things are what they are, raps from afar. The dark. Books are like truth serum. Books like truth serum. If you don't read, you can't figure out what's real. Pain is just a state of mind. You can think your way out of everything, even pain. Without love, pain can't get enough. Because I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all. Sure, it will hurt, but so what? Pain is just a state of mind. You can think your way out of anything, even pain. Remembering is a great invention of the mind. You don't need a time machine if you know how to remember. His heart was simply too big for his body. Never had a brain till Freak came along. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Remembering is a great invention of the mind, and if you try hard enough, you can remember anything, whether it really happened or not. Take your top. None. Although sympathy alone can't alter facts, it can help to make them more bearable. I sometimes think we must be all mad, and that we shall wait to sanity and straight our waistcoats. No one but a woman can help a man when he is in trouble of the heart. Do you not think that there are things which you cannot understand, and yet which are, that some people see things that others cannot, but there are things old and new which must not be contemplated by men's eyes, because they know or think they know some things which other men have told them. It is the fault of our science that it wants to explain all, and if it explain not, then it says there's nothing to explain. Infinite wrath and pain. Because God is never cruel. There is a reason for all things. We must know the pain of loss, because if we never knew it, we would have no compassion for others, and we'd have no compassion for others, and we would become monsters of self-regard, creatures of unalloyed self-interest. The terrible pain of loss teaches humility to our prideful kind, has the power to soften uncaring hearts, to make a better person of a good one. Dogs live are short too short. Dogs' lives are short too short, but you know that going in, you know the pain is coming. You're going to lose a dog. I can love October and September. September doesn't even care. Bad people succeed and good people fail. But that's not the end of the story. Miracles happen that nobody sees, and among us walk heroes who are never recognized, and people live in loneliness because they cannot believe they are loved. Turtle dove. Patience, steadiness, and hope are healthier than anger. She is true on course, of course, on course, and the night has not yet caught fire, and she means to stay on course no matter what. No hamlet in America remains so safe. The beaver cleaver can ride his bike into the evening without at least one risk of being abducted, raped, beheaded, and discarded in a dump. Fell on my butt, got in too drunk. Fell on my butt, just got too drunk. Can't get up, I fell on my butt. Thank God mothers shine a little, at least until their kids grow up enough to watch out for themselves. What Jack didn't understand was that no matter where he went, the same asshole got off the plane. Children have to grow into their imagination like a pair of oversized shoes. We lie best when we lie to ourselves. Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too. Maybe there aren't any such things as good friends or bad friends. Maybe there are just friends, people who stand by you, who, when you're hurt, and who help you feel so lonely, rapping never-endingly for all of eternity. Maybe they're always worth being scared for, and hoping for, and living for. Maybe worth dying for too. As if that's what has to be. No good friends, no bad friends. Only people you want me to be with. People who build their houses in your heart. We all float down here, calling it simple. Wrap up, razzle dazzle, purple snapple. Hustle the devil, I'm down with the devil. Razzle dazzle, I'm down with the devil. Razzle dazzle, about da 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 da. Na 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 da 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 bum da da da. Why do people want to talk to each other? I mean, what are the things people always want to find out about other people? Fear is the relinquishment of logical will and relinquishing of reasonable patterns. We yield to it or we fight it, but we cannot meet it halfway. Gossip says she hanged herself from the turret of the tower. But when you have a house like Hill House with a tower and a turret, gossip would hardly allow you to hang yourself anywhere else. You are the antidote that got me by. For the strong like a drug that always got me high. Always got me high. Writing about yourself seems to be a lot like sticking a branch into clear river water and rolling up the muddy bottom. It goes back to what I said about Anthony wearing his freedom like an invisibility coat, about how he never really developed the prison mentality. His eyes never got that dull look. I find I'm so excited I can barely sit still or hold a thought in my head. I think it's the excitement only a free man can feel. A free man at the start of a long journey whose conclusion is uncertain. I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. And I hope a Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope. The concept of dreaming is known to the waking mind, but to the dreamer there is no waking, no real world, no sanity. There's only the screaming of bedlam asleep. It's best to be ruthless with the past. It ain't the blows we're dealt that matter, but the ones we survive. In that instant she knew what it must feel like to cross a river into a foreign country and then set fire to the bridge behind you and stand on the riverbank watching and breathing deeply as your only chance of retreat went up in smoke. Well, there if I go, don't you know, echoing notes into my phone off the top of my dome. No tears, please, to waste a good suffering. A spring, if it lingers more than a week, beyond its span, starts to hunger for summer to end the days of perpetual promise. But everything slipped through his fingers sooner or later, and with time, he began to wonder whether it was circumstance that denied him a good hold on his earnings, or whether he simply didn't care enough to keep what he had. The train of thought once begun was a runaway everywhere. In the wreckage around him he found evidence to support the same bitter thesis that he had encountered nothing in his life, no personal state of mind or body he wanted sufficiently to suffer even passing discomfort for. A downward spiral began. He spent 3 months in a wash of depression and self-pity that bordered on suicidal. Even that solution was denied him by his newfound nihilism, and if nothing was worth living for, it followed in it. There was nothing dying for either. Rapper forever just keeps getting better forever and ever. Just keeps getting better. I suppose a cry does us all good sometimes, clears the air as the rain does. She has man's brain, a brain that a man should have, where he much gifted, and woman's heart with good God fashioned her for a purpose. Believe me, when he made that so a good combination, I have a sort of empty feeling. Nothing in the world seems as sufficient importance to be worth the doing. No man knows. No man still knows till he experiences it what it is like to feel his own lifeblood drawn away into woman he loves from above. Turtle, turtle dove, there's I've spit and all night and all day. There it goes inside of my head. The nightmares begin to spit and speak again. The nightmares begin to spit. And the funny thing was, if you made the best of it, if you smiled through every storm, the bad things were never as terrible as you expected them to be, and the good things were better than anything, and you could have wished for yourself. I am the one, and I see all. But the blind man in apartment 1-A is blind in many ways, as are all human beings, even those with functioning eyes. They are blind to their folly, to their ignorance, to their history, to the future that they will make for themselves, a future born of self-love and rapping never ending, forever and ever, just keeps getting better, forever and ever, just keeps getting better. Conversely, if she has learned one thing about herself that it is the most discouraging, is that she is immune to the illusions in which so many people take comfort, even though comfort based on an illusion is itself illusory. She can be backed so severely that it doesn't seem as though she can ever straighten herself out again, but she always does. She gets on with getting on. Every year in this war, and that even in our own cities, countless children are killed, while those who spray of bullets or plant a roadside bomb authorize the use of nerve gas, send a drone with the Hellfire missile that strikes the wrong target, shed not a fear, not a tear, referring to those tender deceased as mere collateral damage if they acknowledge. Now, whenever things are so that a lot of people feel they ought to be doing something, the weak and those who go weak with a lot of complicated thinking always make for a sort of do-nothing religion with a pious and superior and submit to persecution and the will of the Lord. I went to a box room at the top of the house and locked myself in order to be alone with the ache and miseries. At the time, there was a strong feeling in the streets that the authorities were to blame for their incapacity to dispose of the invaders. About all this inconvenience, the immediate pressure of necessity has brightened their intellects, enlarged their powers, and hardened their hearts. Raps from the start, all day and all night. The echoing infinite rhymes. Echoing inside of my mind. I never, oh Potter, you rotter, oh what have you done? You're killing off students, you think it's good fun. The poor things keep calling in those plumbers. I think they're called, the ones who mend pipes and things. Plumbers, exactly, yes, but of course they're flummoxed. Jealous of what? I don't want a foul scar right across my head, thanks. I don't think getting your head cut open makes you that special myself. W is free. Snape was looking as though the first person to ask him for a love potion would be force of fed poison. Why spiders? Why couldn't it be followed with butterflies? So Dubby stopped us from getting on the train and broke your arm. He shook his head. You know what, Harry? If he doesn't stop trying to save your life, he's going to kill you. I got a bone to pick with ya. I've heard you've been given out signed photos. How come I haven't got one? However, said Dumbledore, speaking very slowly and clearly so that none of them could miss a word. None of them could miss a word. Haven't you heard? None of them could miss a word. You will find that I will only truly have left the school. When none are loyal to me, you will also find that help will be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. Then wrap it again. And then I said, then rapping never again. They had reached Lockhart's classroom. You could have fried an egg on your face, said Ron. You better hope Creevy doesn't meet Jenny Orville be starting a Harry Potter fan club. Shut up, Stark Harry. The last thing he needed was for Lockhart to hear the phrase Harry Potter fan club. Rub-a-dub, dub-a-dub-dub. Bye forever. Infinite 30-minute offer of rhymes until the end of time spent all day and all night echoing off the walls of the caverns of my mind.